The following is an exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the National Football League. This week on the Panthers Huddle, Coach Dave Canales and the crew look forward to hosting our division rival, the New Orleans Saints. Plus, step inside TD's film room as he breaks down our red zone defense with a trip down memory lane. Welcome inside the Panthers Huddle.
Welcome inside the Panthers Huddle. I am Kristen Balboni here with Panthers legend and my co-host Thomas Davis. TD, we are going to jump right into last week's game. So for starters, we saw Bryce Young after that injury to Andy Dalton. What did you make of his third start this season?
You know, I saw some growth in Bryce. I saw some plays that he was able to go out there and make, and you see the reason why you draft Bryce Young on some of the throws. But then you see the inexperience come in, and you see some of the mistakes that were being made early on in the season, and it just really speaks to being a young player in this league. And when you're playing against a really good defense, some of the things that you are inexperienced at is going to show up in a big way, and that's what happened in the game against Denver.
We have seen one young guy really show up, rookie Jalen Coker. So he had 78 yards, a touchdown. They seem to have good chemistry there. What do you make of him?
You know, he's a hidden gem. He's a guy that we picked up late, and we were able to really implement him into the lineup once we lost some of our starting receivers, and he's done exactly what we needed him to do. He stepped in and he assumed that role, and especially now with Deontay Johnson no longer being here, he's going to have to play a big role, and I'm excited about Coker.
TD, you'll like this. I talked to him a few weeks ago, and I said, what was it like to get that first NFL catch? And he was like, yeah, it was fine, but I have so much more to do. I know you got to like that as a bet. He just has that mindset already.
Love that mindset, especially in a young player. For him to come in with that mindset, that just shows you that this kid is not excited about just being in the NFL. He wants to come in and he wants to make an impact on his team, and that's the kind of player, and those are the kind of players we need and want right here in the Carolina Panthers.
Well, a couple of areas where the defense struggled. Bo Nix was really effective with play action. What is your professional assessment of A, how it went, and B, what you can do as a defense to combat that?
You know, it's really about having your eyes in the right place. When you watch film, a lot of times teams are going to give it away, but they do a great job now of making it look the same. They make it, every play action is going to look like run, it's going to look like the running back has the ball, but as a defender, and particularly as a linebacker, you have to do a great job of getting depth, getting into your coverage drop once you realize that it's not a run, that it's a pass, so that you can get underneath those routes, because they're running play action to suck you up and get the ball behind you. So as a linebacker, we got to understand and know we got to be intentional, and we got to be very fast getting back, making sure that we get enough depth to get underneath those routes. And we haven't been able to see that enough, or see guys connecting to crossing routes enough. And, you know, he was able to take advantage of that on Sunday, and that's why he was able to have 110 yards and 2 touchdowns off play action.
I know another thing that hurts your heart is the red zone defense. So the Broncos made 5 trips into the red zone. They came away with 4 scores. What did you think of that? I mean, I know what you thought of it, but how does it improve?
You know, that's one of the things as a defense, every single time, when doesn't matter how you get into the red zone, doesn't matter whether the offense puts a drive together or whether your offense turns the ball over, you got to have the same mindset. It has to be, we're going to force them to kick a field goal or we're going to take the ball away. That's the mindset that you have to have whenever you get in the red zone. That's why it's called the red zone, so that you can stop them. But I think a lot of it is attention to detail. When you look at these plays and you look at some of the things that are happening, you have guys that are running free. You have guys that you can tell guys are pressing once we get down there. There's some nervousness. There's not a sense of calmness or not a sense of we got this when these guys get down there. So that's one of the things that we have to do a better job at, because teams are going to move the ball. They're going to get down there, but you got to have that bend but don't break mentality.
Well, coming up in just a little while, TD is going to break down that red zone defense and how to improve it in this week's film room. But first, we are going to be talking to head coach Dave Canales right after this.
Sunday at Denver, did you see a more confident Bryce than maybe we'd seen early in the year?
Oh, man. I'd say he was giving me and Jalen more opportunities. I would say that. He was throwing it up, letting us – I told him it was trust throws. Like the throw that he threw me for the touchdown, he kind of fit that in the window. And the deep ball that he gave me, the one I made at the end of the game in the fourth quarter, those were trust passes.
I definitely trust him. I trust all of our receivers. And in this league, it's a lot of bang plays, a lot of tight windows and tough throws. And for me, I'm grateful for those guys. Just having trust in those guys, knowing the strengths they have going and letting them make plays. That's my job. So for me, it feels great just having those guys to trust in. I'm grateful for the work they put in to get there.
My mom and my dad were there. It was great. I mean, what an opportunity, undrafted free agent, coming in, making a play, catching a first touchdown. Awesome. I'm so thankful, blessed for the opportunity.
Coming up, Coach Canales joins Kristen and TD as they look ahead to our second meeting with the Saints this season on the Panthers Huddle. This exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers Television Network is brought to you in part by Bank of America, the official bank of the Carolina Panthers.
Welcome back to the Huddle, joined now by head coach Dave Canales. Coach, great to see you as always.
Great to see you too, Kristen.
All right, let's start with the news from earlier this week. Deontay Johnson traded to the Ravens. Can you talk us through what went into that decision?
Yeah, just collecting all the information. We had some guys step in, in his absence and help us as a team. And so again, I trust Dan and Brant, collecting all the information and felt like it was the best thing for the team to trade Deontay.
Okay.
Coach, when you look at just watching our quarterbacks play, watching Bryce when he's in the game, watching Andy when he's had the opportunity to be on the field, to me there seems to be a vast difference in the play calling or the style of play from the quarterbacks. Could you help us understand how that works?
Yeah, the biggest challenge for me is always to try to put the quarterback in his best position to have confidence and execute. And certainly two different quarterbacks, two different set of skills, and for me, as we continue to enter into each game with kind of a different lineup with our guys, from a receiver standpoint, some young guys stepping up for us, offensive line players kind of shuffling around, the steady has been Chuba Hubbard, in the run game, which we weren't great this past week, so we got to get back on track with that. But the whole thing kind of piecing together, so it's like weekly we have to kind of revisit what's the best thing for the whole group going forward, and that's really the challenge that I face on a weekly basis.
One highlight of this game was Jalen Coker. Let's start with that big catch on third down. What did you see from that one?
Oh, just fantastic route, first of all, to set it up, to get an edge, hold his line, and then the concentration it took to make the catch and make sure he got that second foot in right on the sideline there. Mm-hmm. It was so close. We're staring right at it. It's like, is it a catch or not? I'm trying to get information from upstairs, and they were like, it looked clean, got both feet down. And so really exciting play, as we were struggling on third down, for him to have a spark and kind of get us going a little bit there.
And how about the touchdown catch?
Oh, yeah, just a one-on-one opportunity. Bryce saw it, kind of knew he wanted to go to him. Again, same thing, Coker getting in position, holding his line and giving space for the quarterback to be able to throw a forgiving back shoulder ball right there, and then coming up with it and having the presence of mind to scoot himself over the goal line right there real close.
What do you like most about the way he plays?
Takes advantage of the opportunities.
Yep.
One of my mentors, Tater, Carl Smith, actually Tracy Smith's dad, our special teams coordinator, he told me a long time ago, here's how you know a receiver's good. When you throw it to him, they catch it. As simple as that. He finds a way to win in zone. When it's tight man-to-man, he finds ways to win by creating separation. He can get loose on the back half of it too, and he's shown kind of his ability to stretch the field as well, and making the most of his opportunities.
Having a couple of weeks without Josie and now being able to insert him back into the lineup, what are the biggest things that you feel like the defense missed not having him out there?
It's just the simple things that Trevin saw firsthand, which is like tempo, getting lined up quickly, some of those things kind of orchestrating the whole deal, right? The substitutions, the little notes that Coach E is giving them in the headset after the call, on the situational awareness and all those things take time, to really grow. And Josie has all those things in his tool bag, So I'm really excited. I was really excited to get him back out there, to really get the whole group to play together.
I want to ask you about one of the plays in that game. I love to see Johnny Hekker throw the ball. I know this is the second time that we've seen it this season. What happened on that play, though, between him and Sam Franklin?
Missed the throw. We had it there. We had an opportunity. It was an aggressive call. Down 2 scores, trying to find a way to compete, to find an advantage some way, somehow. And, the guy's back was turned. Sam was open, and we just kind of missed the throw a little bit wide. But, it's kind of just one of those things where, like, trying to compete, fight, and scratch to find any advantage that we can.
Coach, you got a new week, a new opportunity, and you have an old opponent. You get ready to face the Saints again for the second time. What ways have you seen on film that they are not the same team that they were in the beginning?
I mean, just certainly from a personnel standpoint, when you lose a guy like Marshawn Lattimore, Paulson Adebo, some big injuries on the defensive side, part of the strength of who they are is being able to play that tight man-to-man coverage. But they got Kool-Aid McKinstry, and they got Alante Taylor. They brought Ugo Amadi back, a guy that I know from my days in Seattle. So they still got some really solid NFL players that they're going to be able to challenge us with, But again, Derek Carr, Taysom Hill coming back into the mix, being able to add pieces. So it always starts with the guys, and the challenge for the coaches to make adjustments to try to find a style of football that you can win with those differences. But having a couple of guys come back should help them as well.
All right, Coach, thank you so much for the time. We really appreciate all your insight.
When we return, join us in TD's film room as the Panthers legend analyzes the defense with a little blast from the past on the Panthers Huddle. Closed captioning for the Panthers Television Network is provided by Charlotte Eye, Ear, Nose, and Throat Associates, providing premier eye and ENT care to North and South Carolina.
Yeah, that 15 team can't touch us.
No, they can't.
I mean, that's the final word. That's the final word. And to be honest with you, they shouldn't even put them in the conversation with us.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's gonna be a true.
Well, I mean, they was dabbing. We were buzzing in.
We were buzzing head busters. We some head busters. We'll knock a hater out. We some head busters.
Okay, we just saw the 2003 Legends Team Roundtable, which you can find on YouTube, by the way. TD, are you going to let them talk to your team like that?
KB, that looks like a bunch of old granddads sitting around the table telling everybody about how great they used to be. But the last time I checked, there was an athletic quarterback in the Atlanta area that those guys could not beat. They could do nothing with him. Yeah. They did not beat him at all until they drafted yours truly. The first time the Panthers ever beat a Michael Vick-led team was when they drafted me.
There you go.
So to think that y'all could have beat Cam Newton in any era at any point, sorry, old dudes. Think again. Dare I say the 2015 was without a doubt the best team in Panther history.
All right.
15-1 record, KB.
That's
right.
I
think that really speaks for itself.
That's right. And that 2015 Legends rebuttal is going to be on YouTube on Saturday. So certainly, if you didn't get enough of TD talking some junk, I imagine that you are going to see that on that YouTube episode. All right, we are going to go to the present day right now, though, and you are going to talk us through this Panthers red zone defense against the Broncos.
Absolutely. We're going to jump right into this because we have struggled with our red zone defense, and part of the reason why we struggle, if you look right now, you have 1, 2, 3 guys, as we see it right now, that this quarterback has the opportunity to throw the ball to. Of course, you're not going to be successful, and part of the reason is if you look at our defenders, nobody on this front right here, on this second level, nobody is connecting to these receivers. I just pointed out where the receivers were. Nobody is connecting. Everybody has vision. Everybody has eyes on the quarterback. This quarterback, like I said, he has the ability to throw the ball to either one of these players, and that's not conducive to having a successful red zone defense. So what we need these guys to do, they have to understand. Now, you're going to get a play action. Fine, you get that, but get back connected to your guys. Connect. You got to have connection. That's the only way you're going to keep guys out of your red zone. And I can show you on this 2015 play.
Yes, we've been talking about 2015. Yes. You have brought us some film right here about how it's supposed to be done.
Segue right into it. So if we freeze this right now, if you're looking, this is one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history, right? As you look at this play, we have connection right here. I talked about it. We have connection right here. We have connection. We have guys that are connected to the receivers. Everybody is connected. So what does that do? That connection allows the D-line to get home. Drew Brees can't look downfield and find a guy open before our D-line is able to get to him. So that's where you have the rush and coverage working hand to hand. And you can see guys are connected. He has nowhere to throw this football. That's the kind of defense that you have to play in the red zone. You can have zone eyes within the field, but once you get down between that 20 and in, you got to make sure that you're connecting to guys, KB, and it's something that I just haven't seen from this defense.
And you got another play for us, right?
Absolutely. Another play that really demonstrates what I'm saying, and it shows you exactly what I'm talking about. When you have connection, it equals good things for you defensively. As we let this play pause right here, look at what Eli Manning, another great quarterback, right? Look at what he has. Connection. We got guys right here. You have me and Luke connected. He's connected. And even with this connection, we still have two safeties that are free. So if anything breaks down, if Luke loses his guy, if I lose my guy, if Josh Norman doesn't stay with Odell, we have guys over the top that also have vision on what's going on that can help us out. So now, what does that do? That allows, once again, for rush and coverage to work well together. You see the coverage getting after him, and you see Eli Manning throwing an interception to Peanut Tillman, and that was one of the things that made this red zone defense so special, because we had the ability to take guys away underneath. Initial read for the quarterback is taken away. Now he's stuttering. Look at him. He's fumbling with the ball. Now he just tosses it up, and we come away with the interception. The mindset down in the red zone, you have to take the football away or force them to kick field goals. Doesn't matter how they get down there. That has to be the mindset. For this defense, now and any defense moving forward, you got to play and connect with guys and take them away early.
All right, well, we hope they can do that against the Saints next week. And speaking of the Saints, we are going to spotlight that game when we come back.
Up next, Kristen and TD share their thoughts as Carolina prepares to face Alvin Kamara and the Saints on the Panthers Huddle.
Welcome back to the Huddle. Well, TD, let's look ahead to this game against the Saints. We know the first one, week 1, final score 47-10 in favor of New Orleans. What are your biggest takeaways from that one that the Panthers can learn from?
You know, that was not a good showing for us at all. In particular, defensively, it just seemed like the Saints were able to have their way with us and kind of do what they wanted to do on the field. And we ended up losing Derrick Brown. But in that Saints game, they came out and they were able to do everything they wanted to do with us, offensively, defensively, and on special teams. You
made a good point to me earlier, though, and that is that this Saints team looks completely different.
Absolutely. They are definitely a different team. A lot of our fan base understand and know that we've been banged up and we got a lot of players that are out, in particular our key players. But the Saints have also lost a lot of their key players. You know, they may have Derek Carr back this week. We're unsure which quarterback is going to be up. But they lost Rashid, number 22, the guy that took us up top in the first game. He's out. They lost one of their starting corners. They have a slew of guys that are out as well. So it's very important for us to be able to take advantage of the guys that they're missing as well, KB.
Well, one guy that is healthy, Alvin Kamara, and certainly Panthers fans know what he can do very, very well. How do you stop him?
You know, he's a guy that can do it all. He's a guy that you can hand the ball to out of the backfield. They like to throw it to him a lot out of the backfield. So he's kind of like their ace. I just think you have to be in tune to what he does well, and you have to be able to have two guys with eyes on Alvin Kamara at all times, because he is going to be their go-to guy. Olave being gone, Rashid being gone, Alvin Kamara is going to be their guy, and we have to neutralize him.
Another thing to point out was in that first game, the Panthers gave up 4 sacks. That's one of their highest totals per game on the season. Do you think that will be an issue in this game?
You know, I don't foresee that being an issue, but our offensive line is getting back healthy. You know, those guys have been the strong core in the nucleus of this football team so far this season, and we have to commit to running the ball more. We've done a tremendous job of doing that all season long. Chuba is having a career year so far. So we got to figure out ways to get him the ball more and make sure that we take some of the pressure off that passing game.
All right, TD, speaking of this Panthers offense, that's where I'm going to stay for this week's Coke Spotlight. I want to talk about these young receivers and what they have got to do in this game and for the rest of the season. Jalen Coker, Xavier Liga, and JT Sanders as well. We have seen them all improve week over week, and now especially with no Deontay Johnson, it's their time, right? They're not rookies as soon as they come into the NFL, and certainly not at this point. Their number is being called.
Listen, after you go through the preseason, after you've had your first game, you're expected to perform like a veteran, and that's kind of where we are with our receiver crew. These guys have to step up, like you talked about with Deontay Johnson no longer being here. They have to step up in a big way. We're going to get Adam Thielen back. We're not sure when that is going to be, but once he comes back, that'll solidify that group once again. But these young guys, like you said, KB, they have to step up.
And I think they can do it. I really do. All right, that is my Coke Spotlight. What is yours?
My Coke Spotlight is literally having Josie Jewell back and the comfort level that he brings to the defense. Having that green dot, having the ability to get out there and just calm the noise and just calm the waters, get everybody lined up, make sure the communication is good along the whole defense. You know, you got to communicate to the front line, you got to communicate to the middle court, and you got to communicate to the guys on the back end. And we were able to see that with Josie being back, him going out there, being able to get 10 tackles, knowing how emotional that game was, playing against his old team, and he just kind of calmed the waters. And the defense didn't play that great, but we were lined up, we were prepared, we were ready to go, and we had everybody in place when they needed to be in place.
Just one less thing to worry about.
Absolutely.
Right? All right, that is going to do it for us on this week's Huddle. Thank you all so much for watching. On behalf of Thomas Davis, I'm Kristen Balboni. TD, take us out.
Keep pounding.
You've been watching the Panthers Huddle, a copyrighted presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the NFL.